Let's see. How deep do I want to get? I think because I've never really had like a properly positive male role model in my life. Knowing like not having a positive male role model in my life, that was hard because obviously you've got to like learn from the negative role models of how you want to be a man, you know. And it was kind of hard understanding what the principles are, considering I don't have a solid example to go to, because my dad, he left when I was young, and then I didn't have a very good stepdad when I was a little bit older. So really, I was really getting like the examples of what a good man should be from people who aren't good men. So I'm trying to become a good man from examples of people who aren't good men.
Spent a long time in drug addiction and alcoholism in this city. Living a whole kind of different life sort of in this same place. But that was hard. Childhood, kind of, my dad, nothing like really horrific, you know, but just sort of just being lost and not really getting what I needed, you know. It's not things that happened, it's things that should have happened that didn't happen maybe. You know, not really knowing what to do, who I was, you know, how to ask for help. Didn't really know, man.
When you're so confirmed that you know that someone loves you, then you feel so content with showing it so much love. And so I feel like I loved him so much because I was completely open with him, which sounds crazy because it's a dog. But he was there when I had my first period and I needed someone to hug, and I wasn't really close to my parents, and so I hugged him, and it was still someone warm to hug, and it made me feel better.
I just like seeing people doing weird, funny things. Anything just kind of slightly abnormal. It's just amazing to me. It makes me laugh so much, and it just feels so beautiful because it's just people in their natural setting. Every time I hear someone make a weird sound or anything like that, it always just it's just I don't know. I just love stuff like that. It's so great.
Suffering or abuse and those sort of things, they can happen to you as a child, and then that's sort of where you're comfortable because that's what you know. And even as intelligent as you can be, you still sort of drive towards those sort of people because that's what you're familiar with. These partners that I chose, maybe reflected my father and the way that he treated my mother and those experiences that I had as a child. So my comfortable was being around people that were not that nice to me. And then I finalised it with this one relationship that was exact, spitting image of my dad and his relationship with my mum. And it's I had to go through that to learn or unlearn, like you're saying, that experience.
See the stereotypical family, like the two parents and one child, the come play football with your father, dad, son, the stereotypical, the stuff that you don't get to do, and that hits hard as you grow past, because you kind of realize, oh, I didn't do this and this and that. I didn't play football with my dad. I didn't play basketball with my dad.
The other day, probably one of those kind of things I just made me laugh the most. I was just walking through Brandon Hill, and I saw these three guys just all filming the same squirrel from and they were just walking towards it, looking really intense at. I don't know if they were on I don't know, they were doing it for a reason, but they were looking so intense. And I was just dying laughing, and I just had people walking around looking at me funny because no one knew. And I don't know if they noticed, or I was just so funny.
When your mind is feeling off and kind of untethered, what that's calling out to you is that you have to figure out the ways to tether your mind, the ways to ground your being into a feeling of coming back to home, back to earth. And you can do that many ways. Exercise is a really good way of doing that. Doing breathing exercise is a good way of that. Long walks, ritual initiatory experiences like going out camping and kind of looking after yourself, that can all kind of bring you back to your sense of like centered and your capacity for being a strong human being. And I really think that that's one of the issues our society is suffering with at the moment. We're all being told that we're victims, and we're not victims. We're very powerful individuals who's capable of sharing a lot of abundant beauty with their reality, but we're told that we're victims and we should all be fearful. And that means that a lot of people are going around with victim mentality, you know, like my family have gone through massive amount of racism, but they don't go around being horrible to people because they're not victims. They're strong people who look after each other and take care of each other. And I think that really reflects this victimhood. It's not a good mode of operation to be going through your life with. You know, you should feel like a strong, capable human being and not a victim.
If you're trying to be perfect all the time, you're not going to try and, like, you're going to think, oh, you can't make mistakes, meaning you can't learn from those mistakes. I think mistakes are the main thing that people learn from the most. So if you're making those mistakes, that means you're learning the most. Innit? It doesn't automatically mean that you're not making progress, because no, like, mistakes are part of progress as much as being right is part of progress. Yeah, I think I just try to install the idea that you're allowed to make mistakes and that mistakes are important when you're living, because you've got to learn from them. That's like you learn your resilience from learning from mistakes, I think, to be honest. So yeah.
If you could give one piece of advice to your younger self, what would it be?
It's hard. It changes a lot. So you could be yourself. It's okay. You know, don't have to try and be anything else. And but the main thing of that is because it won't work. You know, it just doesn't work because people won't know how to help you if you're pretending to be someone else.